Happy Monday, Pathlings. I'm Spinpixy, and I am Monday's hostess. Now, if my light goes funky on me, I do apologize. I've got the window behind me and off to the sides. There it goes. See, open, so it's being persnickety, so I apologize. I'm sorry it took me so long to get this video up today. Totally not my plan. I've been working on blogs. I'm not even trying to lie. I'm working on 2 blogs. Well, 3, maybe 4, but 3 for sure. I'm working on my my Tumblr blog, my Blogspot blog, and then also Christo Pagan Kim, who is our Thursday hostess, has asked me to do a guest blog for her on her blog. So I'm working on that post right now, and so it just kind of got away from me. I was trying to be all deep in thought and stuff, and apparently that makes me lose track of hours. So this week on Planet Pathlings, we are discussing the first spell that we ever cast. So for that, I had to go into my very first Book of Shadows. So the light is probably going to go wonky on me, and I apologize if it does. So this is my very first Book of Shadows. It's actually meant to be held like this. And as you can see, it has no cover, or no back cover. It's been through some stuff with me. It's got everything. The alphabets that I've been trying to learn, when I was learning how to do banishing and invoking pentagrams, all that kind of stuff, or pentacles I should say, all that kind of stuff. This thing has been to numerous parks, has been read by a police officer, has been through a lot of paces really, many a pizza night, and many a spell and ritual. And so some of the very first things that I did in here are in here, which goes to show that you don't need a big fancy book for your first Book of Shadows, just something to write in, especially if you're very new and this is one of the religions that you're trying out in the search for your lasting religion or spiritual path. So this even has affirmations from when I was learning to meditate. You write everything, well I did, in my very first Book of Shadows. And so I thought I would delve in here to find the very first spell that I ever cast. I find that in my younger days, I asked a lot for clarity on things. Different things, guys, that I liked, life paths, assurance that I was doing the right thing in things. So the very first spell that it looks like I actually ever cast, I don't remember, because all I did was I wrote down, for some reason, the aftermath of what happened. And I try to do that. I record the spells that I cast, and then I record the aftermath of the spell that I cast, just so I can keep a record on if I get results, or if it takes a while for me to get results. Then I might do a couple of spells, but then I'll always write aftermath of my money spell or my career spell. It might have taken a couple months, but this is what has happened, etc. So I'll give you the short version of what I remember of this spell, but then I'll go into detail to the first spell that I actually really wrote out. So I'd done a couple of spells by this time. And so by the time that I wrote the spell that I'm going to talk to you guys about, I had done a couple of spells already. And the first one was to bless someone with their karma. And the reason that this happened was that I had a friend who had a roommate, or taken on a roommate. They were not doing their share, and they were destroying the house. And when I say destroying, I don't mean like causing damage to, so much as taking over with their clutter. And I cast that spell to balance the karma in that home, and that the unruly roommate would be blessed with their karma, so to speak. And shortly after, my friend finally got the courage to tell them that they needed to go because they had outstayed their welcome. So the next one I did, I'll just go to the one that I was going to talk to you about, so that you're not here all day. So the first major spell that I did was what I called a self-rebuilding spell. And this was done June 6th. And this was after I'd been studying for quite a while, because before I had done rituals and stuff like that, and had done a few spells and whatever, but I'd never really been called to do a huge spell until this one, and it's fitting that this spell was done for me. I'd been going through a time that I was out of school, I think by this time, or almost out of school, and just thinking about a lot of stuff and just feeling very depleted and very insecure and not very much like a strong person. And I got sick of feeling this way, so I wrote out this spell. And it uses pretty much every color in the rainbow for various reasons, with white being the only exception, I guess. So if you guys would like me to, I'll consider putting this in the description, but I'm not sure if I will or not. It just depends. If you guys want me to, leave a comment in the comment section, because it's nothing that I can't share. So anyway, what I did was I listed all the things about myself that I began to feel that I didn't like not about me personally, but like about the way that I was being, about the way that I was feeling, about the way that I was acting. I started listing all that stuff down, and then I found the different correspondences that correlated with what I was listing. Henceforth, it became the rainbow spell of self-rebuilding. And so I did this spell, and I was gonna do things I'd never done before magically, and I was gonna sacrifice things, and I don't mean like real like animals or anything, but I know there was a stuffed animal involved that was a representation of myself at the time, I sacrificed that because that represented myself in the worst feelings I had about myself, or the worst feelings that I saw people having about me as well. And I remember that I did this not because I wanted to be admired or adored or anything like that, but because I just wanted to feel better. And my mind was made up that I had to feel better because I was not in a good place. So I set about putting my spell together, and on my altar I had all these different candles and different candle holders, some which looked more like shot glasses, and some which were given to me by my grandma, that were my uncles and stuff like that. All these kinds of different candle holders and candles, and then I got everything ready, and I began my spell. And so I began this spell, and I had various different things that I was saying throughout this spell as I lit every one of the candles. And I just remember feeling that with each candle that I lit, trying to, at that time, sort of fake it before you make it, like mimic the feeling that I would feel after these candles had done their job. And then I wrote the aftermath to this spell quite some months later, in September, on my birthday. And basically it says that I got better, I got stronger, I feel better, I feel stronger. I feel like everything that was making me feel doomed is no more, but I know there was still work to do. 2 2 weeks after this spell, I met a guy, and I'm not going to say his name, and I have been with him ever since. And the thing about this, the guy that I met, is that he was my actual first serious relationship. Now, the funny thing about that is that when I did this, it was not meant to be a love spell. It wasn't meant to be anything like that. It was basically meant because I felt depleted in every way, and I just needed to put these things back into myself so I could feel human again. And when I started, when the spell actually took effect and I started to feel better about myself, better about my life, better about the world around me, I started to get out more. I went to a friend's house, and her friend said that she wanted to fix me up with this guy. We're just out. We were not out to meet anybody. We were just walking around the strip mall doing like normal teenage stuff. And my friend said, or my friend of a friend said, that she wanted to fix me up with her friend, and they showed up, and I met this guy, and I was with him for probably 3 or 4 months, I think, and so yeah, it wasn't meant to be a love spell, but because I felt that confidence, because I felt secure about myself, it, good things started to happen. So just goes to show what happens when you have a little confidence and belief in yourself, I guess. And sometimes you need to use magic to get it there. But that's pretty much the first spell that I did. Was I afraid? Was I nervous? Was I any of those things for the very first spell that I did? I don't believe so. And the reason that I wasn't really nervous or anything is because by that time, like when I first started practicing, when I first started really, really practicing, I don't think that I ever actually did circles like where, your altar's in the middle and you walk around your circle. I just kind of stood in in front of my altar and did your basic directional facing and calling of quarters or whatever you want to call it. I did my basic stuff, but I didn't do anything, overly, like, I didn't do it as advanced as I do it now. But I had new rituals, and I would light my candles every morning, and I would just stand there and just get acclimated, get used to the feeling of standing in front of my altar and thinking about what it was used for, and doing that. The more often that I did it, the better that I felt. The more I got confident in my ability to conduct, and that's what you need to do when you are doing anything magically. You need to feel like you have the ability to conduct the energy the way a conductor would conduct an orchestra. You need to be able to tell it where to go and how to get there, basically. Like, just, here's your way to the universe, now go and do what I've asked you to do, pretty much. So I got used to standing in front of my altar a long time before actually casting spells, doing little rituals, doing little morning rituals, like, oh, it's morning, I'll put on my candles, put on music, and do a ritual. Get used to it. Get used to feeling the energy of what my magic felt like, what my energy during times of magic felt like. Getting used to knowing what each candle I was using did, or what herbs I was using did. And I just got used to being a conduit for the energy to go through me. And once I got to the point where I was actually ready to cast spells, I was already comfortable with being able to conduct that energy, to tell that energy what I needed it to do, and to push it out there. I will tell you in all honesty, I wasn't ready for some of the results I got, and how quick, especially in my first few spells, the results were. And I think the reason for that was because it was so new, and because my vibrations ran so high. And what I mean is, because it was, you know how when something is new, you just want to like all your energy is so focused on it that it's new and it's, you know, it's there and you can, I guess for lack of a better terminology, you can play with it, you can hold it, you can interact with it. And for me, when I was first doing magic, that's what it was. It was like something new that I was doing. So that intense energy and vibration concentrated on what I was doing, and the pride I felt in discovering this path, it all just kind of pushed everything out there so quickly that the results were a really quick turnaround in the beginning. And I was also casting really simple stuff. So, the one thing that I will stress is that if you are wanting to cast spells, if you haven't yet, and you don't feel comfortable with any part of your practice, I would say hold off until you feel comfortable conducting that energy. Because if you stand in front of your altar and you're absolutely clueless as to what you're doing, you're going to be scattered. You're going to make mistakes. And when I mean mistakes, I don't mean like saying the wrong words or whatever. I mean knocking over candles, knocking over water, bumping into your altar, things like that. You're going to get nervous. Little mistakes that could cause potential fire. So just get comfortable with what you're doing before you do it, and you'll be fine. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, please leave them in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week, and many blessings. Bye-bye.